Steeler Nation, where are you? Steeler Nation, thank you for joining me. My name's Jake Wade. This is the Steeler Wade Show. Gotta line myself up just right. Hey, you know what? I've been thinking about doing this podcast, and I cannot help. Even with all the poop that's been happening, this is still my second favorite game of the year. You know, like, it's different with the Bengals. You know, like, I love playing the Patriots, you know, because I hate losing to the Patriots. I want to beat them so bad. But the thing about with the Patriots is I hate losing to them, you know. With the Bengals, Tomlin, you got to bench George. With the Bengals, you know, I want to beat them, man. That's the team I want to beat. My favorite game all year long. You know, all year long. It's. I'm coming to you from Southwest Michigan. It's you know, like people say, oh, it's freezing. Well, it's like literally freezing. So I don't mind if I play quarterback here with a little. But so I was like, I can't just start coming in right off the bat like, we have to beat since Indy. Oh, we have to beat, you know, because it's not the same for me. This is, I want to beat Cincy. Now, I am just going to be cool. I mean, Kutch just re-signed with the Pirates, so, hey, everything's going to be all right. You know what I mean? And I'm accepting a lot of things, a lot of what one man said, realities that are happening with our team. You know what I mean? And what need to be looked at. Money, all these things. But I want to beat Cincinnati. You know, if we lose the, you know, the following two or what, you know, of course I want the North, but Tomlin, you need to bench George Pickens. Omar Khan, you need to sell George Pickens. You need to sell him. And I'm not talking about playing him and showing him off about what he can do. You come up with the pitch. Omar Khan, you need to sell George Pickens. So I was like thinking about different things I could do the podcast on. And really interesting this morning. Like, I like to believe in, I guess it's a corporation that, or syndicate, or whatever they call these things. You know, franchises that sell stuff for the Steelers with Mark. And I love listening to Ike. You know, like sometimes I think some of the things Ike says, it like, oh, you better watch yourself, Ike, because he's so cool and honest. I love Ike Taylor, you know. And they have a really cool show. Well, Ben Roethlisberger, I listened to a really neat interview that he did on the Believe in Bengals. There's the cat that used to play for the Steelers. And it was a really interesting. Some of the things that Ben said, Mike Tomlin, you have got to bench George Pickens. So I'm trying to think, you know, maybe I'll talk about a little bit of things that were really interesting about that. A little later on in the morning as my commute, it's really long, you know. And I saw them, oh my gosh, Ocho fucking Cinco and Shannon Sharpe, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, God, can you imagine, like, I'm starting to see a connection with fans that maybe I didn't see a connection before. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are like me. That may not, we all have different viewpoints, but there's a lot of them that we have a common denominator that those are two of the, we do not want to, So I was thinking, oh, well, I can talk about that, like, and do all these faces that are, you know, that just pop up in the middle of my screen. I got to fix that. You know, I want to talk about that, but it's like, man, like George Pickens talked to the media and said things that he shouldn't have said, but way worse than Chooks. Ooh, and a lot of times I talk about my experiences with like being incarcerated and things like that, and like I talk sometimes about like the team is like a race, in a way. Yeah, like sometimes it's just easy for me to think about angles of thoughts. You know what I mean? And and believe me, this is nothing hitman, nothing like that. But like Tomlin has the keys for our whatever. You know what I mean? And I would never say, because I don't have this thought that like it would come from that part down. But there's some men on that team that need to go to Tomlin as the guy that is in charge of this, and go, look, this is going to happen. This needs to happen. Whether they push up on him or they figure it out, but they're saying, look, it's going to get, and they need to, he needs to give the nod, and they need to beat on him. So I'm not trying to condone violence. Maybe I'm talking about beating that band 2 Feet, like a drum beat like they have with their guitar solos. I don't know, but I'll tell you what. Omar Khan, sell George. I would just love to see Hines Ward come in right now. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Hines Ward saying, Mike, buddy, what's happening? Yeah, it's cool. We'll figure something out, and just because there's no team I want to beat more than Cincinnati. But I will not want to see him on the field. If something works out, something works out. But yeah, I'm not, no. There's a common denominator, like with the fans that I see out there. Like we may not have the similar, like, cautious, adventurous viewpoints and things like that, right? But there's a lot of us that have a love affair with men like Hines Ward. We have a love affair of the way a big part of Steeler football for us is. So many levels. You cannot let someone like that play. He needs to get whooped. He needs to get a little tuned up physically. I'm just talking about it as just a man. Like, you can't be talking like that about your. I mean, Jaylen Warren's been dodging friggin' the press for all this time about the nausea shit and all this stuff, and then you just come out there with your put your underwear up, George, and we can just sell you. I don't really care. I'll take a 4th, 5th round, sell him off, cut our losses, and we'll just whatever. Sorry, and let him be great. Sell him as being great for some NFC team. You know what I mean? But we'll trade him for Evans or something like that for Tampa Bay. But folks, thank you for checking out the Steeler Wade Show. And I'll try to put some links in there, but I wanted to ask you, please, to consider liking the video. And if you would like to be reminded that you like something before, press subscribe. It's coming to you from Southwest Michigan, about 27 degrees, which ain't so bad. I like the number 9. Steeler Nation, we're going to come back with some more stuff. But out of these 3, I want Cincinnati. And I'm not going to be, if we got it, God isn't a word, but if we won, the rest of the reality, I can figure it out, and we got a lot of time. So thank you for checking me out, and see you around Bend.